This video, I will be covering the quantitative reasoning section of the UCAT, covering a few tips and going through a few examples which commonly come up. So starting off, try to use mental maths as much as you can instead of using the UCAT calculator. This is because even if you know all the shortcuts of the UCAT calculator, it still takes much more time than using your brain. So if you can, then try to use mental maths because it can save you a lot of time. Next, watch for rounding to your nearest question. So for example, it might say round the mass of the elephant to the nearest kg. And the mass you actually get will be in the options, but it won't be the correct one. The correct one will be rounding it to the nearest kg. So make sure you carefully read the question and do as it says. Next, try to convert units first and know all your conversions. This is because, as we know, 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters, but 1 centimeter cubed isn't equal to 10 millimeter cubed. It is equal to 1000 millimeter cubed. So if you can try to convert the units first, it will make the calculations much easier. And you need to know all the conversions on the back of your head because you can't be wasting any time. Next, learn all the keyboard and calculator shortcuts and use the number pad. So the number pad is the one as I've circled now, because all the numbers will be in one place, all the subtraction, multiplication, everything's in one place, and it'd be much faster than just hovering over your whole keyboard. Remember to round up for people and equipment. For example, in the example below, you might be asked to calculate 750 grams of butter and how much that would cost. Well, you know the packet is 500 grams and 750 means 1.5 of that packet. But you would still have to buy 2 packets, you can't buy 1.5. So you would have to round up 1.5 packet to 2 to get the right number. Calculating differences question, calculate the differences first before doing other calculations. So in this example, we're being asked to find the difference in journey times between the two routes if Martha travels at an average speed of 69. So between AB and BC, we need to find the difference in times. Well, what a lot of people would do is they would do 156 divided by 69. So try to find the journey time for this, which will be 2.26, and then they would do 82 divided by 69, which gives 1.188, and then they would find the difference, which will be 2.26 minus 1.188, which would give 1.072, and then they would find the time by multiplying that by 60 to get the time in minutes, which would be 64 minutes, which makes the last one the correct option. But by doing this, you wasted so much time. The quicker method would be just doing 156 minus 82 to calculate the difference in the distance, and this would give 74, and then you just simply divide 74 by 69, which will get you 1.072, and then you times that by 60, which will get you 64 minutes. So this method has saved me a lot of time, and for any questions like this, you calculate the difference. So okay, so another example is this, where you've been asked how much profit do they make in 1 month. You know the petrol in Crewe costs £1.25 to produce, and it sells for £1.53. And you know that all figures are in thousands of tons. So this would be 1,000 everything is in thousands. Okay, so again, a lot of people, what they would do is calculate how much each would cost first, but this would take such a long time. It's much easier to just do 1.53 minus 1.25, which gets me 0.28, and then I can just simply times that by, because it's petrol produced in the crew, I find crew and petrol, that's 752, times that by 752, and I would get 210.56, and then I simply times that by 1,000, which would give this as a correct answer. So this would be much faster than doing the whole calculation, so that you understand the table and the information that's been provided to you. So below is a table containing information about a selection of hot drinks sold at a cafe. So what the question is asking is, how many full hot chocolates would you need to drink to consume more caffeine than in one Americano? So what a lot of people would do for this question is they would look at Americano, they would look at caffeine content, and they would look at hot chocolates. So Americano, that is 43, they would do 43 divided by hot chocolates, which is 2, 43 divided by 2, 21.5, and then they would just round it up to 22, and they would choose 22 as the right option. But this is not the correct answer. If you are more careful, you will realize that this is per 100 milliliters, and you would have to look at the size of each drink. So for example, Americano, it is 120 milliliter. So what you would have to do is you would have to find how many milligrams of caffeine is in each drink. So because this is 120 milliliter, you would have to do 43 divided by 1.2, because this is per 100 milliliter, so that's why you would need to times it by 1.2, which will get you 51.6. And then you would look at hot chocolate, because the size of one hot chocolate is 240 milliliters. You would do 2 times 2.4, which will give you 4.8. And then you would divide that 51.6 by 4.8, and this would give you 10.75, and your correct answer will be 11. So you can see, if you don't read the question properly and carefully, you will end up getting the wrong answer. Next, if it's not mentioned in the answer, ignore it. So in the table shows UK Prime Minister since 1951, and you have 5 answer options, but you can see how many prime ministers there are. There's many more than 5. So what you can do is you can, if it's not mentioned in the answer options, then you can just ignore it. Then you don't have to work for that option. So the question is, which one of these men was the youngest prime minister in the 50 years leading to 2012? Well, 2012 minus 50, which would give me 1962. So I would have to look after 1962, because it's 50 years leading to 2012. So first I would look at Harold Wilson. So I can see Harold Wilson. Well, he was born in 1916 and he became the Prime Minister in 1964, as you can see. So if I do 1964 minus 1916, which gives me 48. So I know Harold Wilson is 48. Harold Macmillan, well, this is before. Harold Macmillan's there, and he's before 1962, so I can just rule Harold Macmillan out. He won't be one of the options. Alec Douglas Home, well, I would have a look for him. He's there, and he became a Prime Minister in 1963, so I can count that in. So 1963 minus 1903, which is his date of birth year, so that's 60. So I know it can't be 60 because Harold Wilson is younger. So Tony Blair. Next, I will look for Tony Blair, and I find him there, and he became the Prime Minister in 1997. So I will do 1997 minus 1953, which gives me 44. So for now, Tony Blair is the youngest one. Edward Heath, I will look for Edward Heath. He is there. He became Prime Minister in 1970. 1970 minus 1916 gives me 54. So it can't be that. So for the youngest one, I have Tony Blair. So he is the correct answer. But if you ended up doing it for all the options, you would realize that David Cameron was also 44 when he became the Prime Minister. So could that be the correct answer? Yes, it could have been. But because it's not mentioned in the options here, you can just rule it out. So you can it would save you a lot of time if you just focused on the options here instead of counting all of them in. So make sure you just look at the answer options and read all the information. Make sure that you understand all the information as well. So what a lot of people would do is they would just go straight onto the question. They would just say, oh, how much will it cost Martha to plant the wild bush seed mix in the area highlighted in grey? Well, this is the grey area, and you can be here all day trying to figure out what is the area of the grey, and you will not be able to work it out because you can work out the length. So 8.8 minus 4.2, which will give you 4.6 meters. But how do you work out this length? You'll need to know what this is to work out what this is, but you can't work that out unless you read the question properly. If you've read the question, you would know that the area in white, the square, it makes a perfect square. So if it makes a perfect square, a square has all lengths equal. So if this is 8.8, this will also be 8.8. So then what you can do is you can do 14.5 minus 8.8, and this would give you 5.7 for this. Then you could do 5.7 times 4.6, which gives you 26.22. And you know that a 0.5 meters squared costs 3.20. So what you can do is divide this by 0.5, which will get you 52.44, and then you would times that by 3.20, which will get you 169.60. So make sure that you read everything and you understand it as well. Thank you.